Hi there, it's Bruce from Record Collectors Paradise here, and thought we'd show you some very cool equipment that we picked up recently. And what's very impressive about this is not only is the equipment great and collectible and old, but came with original packaging, original manuals, even original receipts. So we're really excited about it. So Max is going to join me, and we'll go through it and take a look at what we have.
Alright, so the first piece we have here is a Gerard Tp A10 Tonearm. Now, this was made in the mono era before stereo took over, and if you get a look, we see it's got the original packaging here, the outer box and also the display box right here. You can see this Tonearm's in its original box. I'll lift off the cover here. It's got a little bit of oil residue on it from wear, but obviously the original owner cared enough to put it back in its box. You can see he even tied this ribbon here. This Pickering cartridge here is much later, which shows that he must have used it up till at least the 1970s. And if I pull the Tonearm out of its packaging, you can see the Goldring 600, which is the original cartridge that was used on here back in the 1950s. The cartridge doesn't have anti-skating because, of course, it's a little bit too old for that. But it does have adjustable tracking and is usable, especially with mono records, to pretty good effect. You can see there's another Tonearm in here, this one being a Pickering. And believe it or not, that Pickering's got an original replacement stylus, so if someone was interested, they could probably get it going again. I think this Goldring here is one of the more interesting pieces. It's got the original instructions in here, and although the foam is deteriorated from age, you can see that the cartridge itself is, believe it or not, in surprisingly good shape, although it is missing its needle. In here also you can see the original Tonearm lead here, and another one which indicates to me that at some point this Tonearm was converted for stereo use, although it was originally mono. If you have a look on the bottom here, you can see he's only got two conductors on the Pickering pickup though. So that's it for the Tonearm for now. Let's go on to the next piece of equipment. The next thing we have here is something really special. This is a Gerard 301 transcription turntable in its original box. This is from 1957. We have the receipt to, is this from 57 or 1958? Sorry, I guess he saved up a little bit and bought this one a year later. But this is in the original box from 1958, and it's with the manual and all the accessories. So here's a view down into the box. I haven't actually taken all this stuff out of the box before. The first thing you'll notice here is there's a stylish pressure gauge. Can you believe this thing actually goes all the way up to 30 grams? I mean, that just tells you how old this actually is. Here, this envelope contains manual templates and stroboscope for your Gerard Model 301 transcription motor. Notice they didn't even call it a turntable yet, it was just a motor. We've got some more original tags set for use on 100, 130 volts. That's differentiated from the European model. And another warning tag with the Gerard logo on the back. We've got some deteriorated packing foam here. I guess we can remove this here. And right under that is the turntable itself. Alright, so here's all the items that were in the box that I just showed a couple minutes ago. First is you've got the manual, template, and stroboscope, which I think I showed previously. This is all original instructions. We've got a whole bunch of mounting hardware. The stylus gauge I showed previously. We've got an old level for leveling the turntable. I don't think that's a Gerard accessory. We've got turntable spindle lubricant. I don't think we'd want to use that anymore, but I think it's a nice accessory to have. And we've got some motorboard mounting hardware. When we look at the unit itself, you'll see first of all it's still got the original warning label on top of it. And second of all, this is the original mat, which is in pretty good condition. Now, if we pull the platter itself off, you can see that the idler wheel looks like it's not deformed, and it seems to be in reasonably good condition. Now, I haven't actually tried this turntable, but I suspect that if I did, it should be in reasonably good working order, although some lubrication would probably be a good idea. It's interesting to me that even being as old as it does have the CSA marking as well. Alright, well here we're having a look at the underside. You can see that all the original, everything that's supposed to be there is there. It looks to me like some of the original grease is still there too, so this is going to require a full flush out and relubrication with recommended lubricants. It's nice to see though it's in very good condition, all the wiring is intact, and it doesn't look like anything's been damaged, so I think this is a very excellent condition vintage turntable. What we have next here is a Quad II control unit and a Quad II amplifier. Now, anybody who knows about vintage hi-fi knows that the Quad II amplifier is probably one of the most legendary tube amplifiers made, really, especially from its era, and I'm really looking forward to getting this one out of the box. Alright, so we'll start off with the preamplifier, leave the good part for the end. This is the preamplifier here. When I open the box, you can still see it's got the original packaging. The acoustical manufacturing company, that was before it was actually called Quad. And if we take this out, you can see that the preamplifier is here looking up, getting ready for us to take it out. I'll pull it out here, and I'll set it down like this. You can have a quick peek at the front of it. It's got the original Jones type attachment plug and the AC plug to plug into its associated amplifier. Now we'll have a look at the rear panel. That's got the inputs and the output. Interesting how they called it gramophone instead of phono or phonograph, given its British origins. It really doesn't look like this has been played with too much. It looks pretty much original and in very good condition. We'll probably have a closer look inside this once I get to refurbishing these two units. Okay, so curiosity got the best of me and I had to have a look inside this before I actually work on it. And you can see that it is pretty much all original inside. It looks like a little bit of service work has been done. Both of the tubes have been changed, but these look like good quality new old stock type tubes. They're not something more modern. Definitely I'm the first person to be here in an awfully long time. Having a look on this side, you can see this is really all original too. Service-wise, you can tell that this light bulb here has quite a bit of deposits on the inside of the envelope, which tells me that this probably was used a lot, which doesn't surprise me because someone who would buy such a high quality and expensive unit would probably want to use it a lot, so that makes sense. Anyway, that's the interior of the control unit, and let's move on to the amplifier. Alright, now here's the component I've been waiting for, although I really did like the previous two, especially that Gerard turntable, but original box Quad II amplifier. I'll start off by opening the top cover here, and the first thing you'll notice is it actually has the original Quad II instruction manual with the warranty card and everything else that's necessary. Caution, this apparatus should not be operated without efficient connection to earth. That's an interesting way of saying make sure it's grounded. Now I'll open this up, and as we get in here, you can see that all of the original packaging material is still here. Alright, so now we're looking down into the top of the package of the Quad II as though we were opening it for the first time. This one looks like it's been opened before, but of course it is in very good condition. There's the power cord, not very long, which is kind of unusual. We've got some packaging materials which need to come out here. This one was to protect the original tubes. This another piece of material here. These are pickup adapters for the preamp, and they actually have no business being in here, but it makes sense that they'd be stored in there after all these years. I'll pull out the packaging materials on the sides here and on the back, and just about ready to take the amp out here. I'm going to pull this straight out like that, and you can have a look at the original amplifier. Now It looks to me, I actually had a look at this before, so I had the opportunity to see it, but these are not the original output tubes. It would have originally had British output tubes. These are Canadian, but the preamp tubes are original. And this rectifier tube, although not original, is made in Great Britain, which is appropriate. The cosmetic condition of this amplifier is very good. It's got some dust on it. Signs of use, but in general I would consider this to be in excellent condition. Let's have a look at the bottom now. So having a look in the bottom of the Quad II, which we just took out of its original box, you can see that all of the parts appear to be original. It doesn't really look like anything's been serviced or worked on. There could be something sticking out to a quad expert right now, but to my eyes this looks like it hasn't been touched since it was new. Most likely some of these components will require replacement if this is to be put back into service, but it looks fantastic as far as I can tell. Alright, so here's the speakers that originally went with the stereo setup we've just looked at. This one here is a Wharfedale Super 12/FS/AL model. This one over here is a Super 12/CS/AL model. The FS was bought in 1961, which was several years after the original purchase of the CS, which was bought in 1958 or 7, according to the receipt. Now, if I have a look inside here, the old British and European makers would put speakers in bags like this to prevent dust or any other contamination. That's something you rarely see on American speakers or Canadian, but it is very typical of British equipment. You can see these have cast frames like you'd expect from this era of very high quality equipment, but unfortunately they've succumbed a little bit to the effects of time. The foam around the outside all needs to be replaced, and you could hear that the voice coil is rubbing a little bit. Now I'm not sure if replacing the foam would cure that or not, but definitely at least this of the two speakers requires some work. Now for the time being I'm going to leave the other speaker in its original bag.